Hello, everyone, and welcome to Aircover. Aircover is an international, inspiring, and informative webinar series by Global University Systems that brings to you some of the most interesting businesses and business leaders from across the globe. Our topic today is building a career in new and emerging technologies. Today, we'll be talking about how to break into the tech industry and also touch on some of the transferable skills that can be applied to the tech industry. We are joined by Ankur Mathur, who is the Vice President and Business Unit Head of Education at Tata Consultancy Services. TCS is a business solutions organization that has been partnering with many of the world's largest businesses in the transformation journeys for over 50 years. Joining us all the way from Bangalore, Ankur, a very warm welcome.
Jackson, thank you so very much, and a very warm welcome to all the students, all the learners who are joining us today.
Ankur, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to our staff and students. We are very excited to have you here. And just before we start, Gus places a lot of importance on his company values, and I would like to tease out one of those values and hear what your thoughts are on student focus. What does student focus mean to Tata Consultancy Services?
So, Jackson, thanks. I think it's an interesting question. So, if you look at Tata Consultancy Services, in a typical year, we hire about 10,000 students from universities across the world, between 10,000 to 25,000. Depends on the demand and different parts of the year. So really, the engine that keeps TCS, Tata Consultancy Services, moving in the forward direction is really the new energy, the new ideas, and the knowledge that students bring into the ecosystem of TCS. Our focus on students has been extremely high even before they join us. So as an example, we run a coding event, one of the world's largest programming event, which is called as Code Vita, where students who are still in the university get a chance to participate in this event and demonstrate their problem-solving skills for complex business problems through the use of technology. And we evaluate that. And happy to say that many of the ideas that come out from this event and similar events that we host really nudge us forward. There are other things that we also do in terms of our student focus, which is in terms of running hackathons, running ideathons, and very recently about sustainathons. We believe that the students of today, the learners of today, really are extremely conscious about the environment in which we all are living, about creating a sustainable future for all of us, which is also very aligned with the future direction of TCS and the Tata Group overall. So our focus is significantly on inducting students into the organization, and we get energy out of such fresh ideas, new ideas, fresh minds.
Thank you, Ankur. That sits very well with Global University Systems as well. Student focus is one of our main values from the 7 different values that we have. To our viewers who are watching us, do send questions for Ankur in the live chat box, and we'll come back to you during the Q&A session. Ankur, let's dive straight in. So can you give us an insight into your career journey and tell us a bit more about Tata Consultancy Services?
Sure, Jackson. If the students want to recollect one thing from this conversation, is that sky is the limit in TCS. So I joined TCS from my university as a summer intern. And with hard work and with constant learning, I've been able to reach a business unit head for education sector in TCS. But this is not it. If you look at some of the other examples, our group chairman of the Tata Group was also an intern at the start of his career in TCS. So for those students who are listening to us today, I really want to encourage you to think about Tata and to think about TCS as a place where you could start as an intern and you could rise to any level. Just a quick background about Tata Group and TCS. So Tata Group is a conglomerate of about 100 companies, out of which 29 companies are publicly listed. The group revenue is about 128 billion US dollars. The group employs close to 935,000 employees around the world. There is probably no part of the world that Tata Group doesn't work in. Particularly about TCS, TCS's revenue last year was 25.7 billion US dollars. We have about 613,000 employees on our rolls, again globally. What distinguishes Tata Group and TCS is the value system that we hold. So fundamentally, Tata Group believes that what comes from the society must go back to the society. So fundamentally, the group works in a very philanthropic manner. So while each company in the group generates the revenue and the profits as a commercial entity, but 66% of the equity of Tata Group companies is owned by charitable philanthropic trusts, which route this profit back into the society through research institutions, cancer research, even through education, potable drinking water, providing electricity, many other things that the group does to, to give it back to the society. I think that's something that creates a purpose for all of us who work in TCS and in the Tata Group, that while we are working for commercial purposes, there is a larger purpose behind it, and that is that we are doing something good for the society. That's one very, I would say, key distinguishing aspect about Tata Group. Besides, of course, many other things that we are known for, which is integrity in our business. We typically walk away from business that we don't believe allows us to work in a manner that demonstrates integrity, and many other aspects. Respect for individual, having a fair and equitable treatment for our employees, irrespective of gender, race, religion. We promote diversity very significantly. In fact, TCS today is one of the largest employers of women in India. In fact, the largest employer of women in India. We have more than 200,000 women employees. And it is also on a global basis, we do encourage diversity.
What a brilliant way to start this webinar. I mean, there's so many wonderful things to hear from TCS. Who wouldn't want to work for TCS? No, I want to come and work for TCS. What did I want to say? From the golden career path, from starting as an intern to becoming the vice president of business head unit at TCS. I mean, it's one of those poster dreams come true. It's so amazing to hear your career journey and very inspiring. To the second question that I have to ask you, is basically what advice would you give to students looking to break into the tech industry and get noticed by a company by TCS upon graduation? So now they've heard the story about TCS, and now they want to know, how do I break into a career journey in the tech industry?
Sure, absolutely. So, I want to talk a little bit about what kind of roles and what kind of skills do we typically induct people for, right? So one, obviously, we hire people for their technology skills. So, and we have got pretty much every technology that you can think of under the sun. You will find people working in those technologies in TCS. We also value very much those individuals who have developed some hands-on experience. Now, whether it be during their academic programs or during their internships or by working with some startup organization or even as their own hobby, they have developed certain hands-on skills. Third aspect that we value very much is individuals who have got a great problem-solving ability. Because in our business, fundamentally, we are trying to solve a customer's business problem through the application of technology. So problem solving skills are extremely important, which also leads us to the next point, which is we also very much appreciate individuals who have got some exposure to some industry. And industries could be varied. It could be the airlines industry, it could be the hospitality, it could be power generation, manufacturing, retail, what have you, right? So somebody who has got some flair, some understanding about how does this industry really work and what are the application of technologies in this industry become very valuable for us. So we really appreciate and value individuals who demonstrate, a mix of these background and skills. And like I said, we do recruit very significantly from universities. Um, yeah,
Touching upon that point, so what opportunities are available to students at TCS, specifically in terms of placements, internships, scholarships, graduate schemes, work experience, etc.? And how can students access these?
sure. So I think particularly for Europe, we have a program which is called as Grow at TCS. And what we have done is that we have created certain innovation hubs around the world. There are many innovation hubs now which are there in North America, in US. We work with, there are centers, it's called as spaceports, where fundamentally we bring people together, we bring uh, university interns together, we bring our industry experts together, the customers, design thinkers together to solve a business problem, right? Come up with a solution. So I think one way that students can engage with us is by coming and working with us as an intern in our pace ports and get a real feel for what does it take to solve a customer's business challenge, a business problem, not necessarily a technology problem, but a business problem. So that's one way to engage with us. Second way is by participating in some of these events that we host, such as Code Vita, which, by the way, is also listed in the Guinness Book of World Records as the world's largest single coding event. Also participating in hackathons, in sustainathons, and these events keep happening from time to time, around the year. And I would very much encourage the team to be on the lookout for such opportunities. You can also apply directly through our human resources team. You can also find us through job postings that TCS places in social media. You can find us over there and you can apply through that channel as well. So overall, I think there are multiple ways in which you can engage with TCS to find an internship, to find a job, to find a career in the organization.
And Anko, you mentioned earlier that problem-solving skills is one of the skills that you look for in candidates and students that come to TCS. What other skills and qualities should students look to develop to better their chances at chances of employment in the tech industry or at TCS?
Sure. See, I'll speak for myself. So when we are recruiting people for our team, the unit that I lead, we look for originality. So we look for people or individuals who have perhaps published a paper, who have got an independent point of view on some topic which relates to the nature of our business. So either it's a publication or even if it's a blog, we look for that, and we look for originality of ideas. It doesn't matter if the idea is right or wrong. There is no right or wrong idea. I mean, we just welcome ideas, fresh thinking. So that's one thing. Other thing that we also look for is team working ability. It's very hard to call it out, but an organization like TCS works only based on the collaboration of individuals inside a team and across different teams. So we do look for communication skills, ability to put your point of view forward, as well as listen, understand others' point of view as well, and work in a win-win manner. We also look for people uh, who have a reasonable flair for understanding uh, the implications or the application of technology. It could be any technology and it could be any business problem. So we do look for the application skills of technology in individuals. I think these are some of the aspects that we look for.
Yeah.
And of course, enthusiasm, energy, willingness to go the extra mile and make a mark for themselves and for the company that they work for.
All good qualities. Before we move on to the next question, to our viewers, do send questions for Ankur in the chat box. You can start sending them already now, so that we have them. We have collected them by the time we reach the Q&A session. So, Ankur, to the next question: in such a fast-moving industry, it must be hard to keep on top of the latest trends and skills. What advice can you offer to students who are looking to keep up their technology skills current and in line with companies like TCS?
Sure. So, see, there is a philosophy that we follow, and the philosophy is that new technology keeps coming, and after some point in time, the previous technology sometimes gets called as a legacy technology. However, people never become legacy. That means people can always be reskilled. And that is a business model on which we have worked. We have reskilled people to the tunes of hundreds of thousands over the last many, many years. So fundamentally, my advice for the students, for the learners who are there on the call today, how to keep pace with technology, how to keep learning, is to think of your knowledge as a T factor. So you just imagine a T, the letter T,
Yeah.
and it has got the top,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
and it has got, the depth.
The
So
base.
fundamentally, when you look at the vertical axis, that is the depth of your knowledge in a particular sphere, in a particular technology.
Yeah.
And you must have depth in at least one technology. However, you must also build knowledge about other relevant streams. Some of those could be technology streams, some of those could be domain, functional, or industry streams that makes you a well-rounded professional, and that's the top part of the T, right? And as you go over a period of time, as some of these technologies become a little bit outdated, less used, you must start developing your skills in another technology. So add another vertical axis to that. So it starts appearing as a pie instead of a T, if you know what I mean. But
Yes.
over a period of time, keep thinking about re-energizing yourself by learning new technologies, but not just a technology, but also about the supporting knowledge that you need to have about functional domain and industry knowledge, and that will keep you going. So my advice is an hour of learning every day in your area of choice will go a long way in helping you develop your skills. Also, taking up some short programs, some short courses which lead to certification, a professional certification which is recognized by the industry, will also go a long way in you staying current with the knowledge as well as the acceptability of your knowledge in the industry.
I love the analogy with the tea and the pie. Very, very picturesque, very descriptive. It's good to kind of visualize it. Anko, what are some of the things you did during education to further your career later along the line? And similarly, what can students do today, such as something maybe like voluntary work or building up their personal portfolio before seeking full-time employment at a leading company like TCS? So in addition to their degrees that they do, what else can they do to make themselves attractive for the job roles at TCS?
Sure. See, few things I will advise on. There is no substitute for hard work, and that is during the academic duration. It is also once you join TCS or some other organization as an employee and so on. So one of the basic things that I have learned is to continue working extremely hard. In fact, my suggestion or advice to the team, which is there on the call today, is that in your cohort, you should aspire to be one of the hardest working person, because success comes to those who work the hardest. Okay, it's not just your knowledge, it's not just your experience, it is hard work, it is collaborating with other folks and so on. So that's one thing. However, before you join employment, what are the other things that you could do? You could write a blog post. You could work in a small startup, work in a small team. My recommendation is work in a small team in a large organization if it is possible, or an internship. And the reason is that the learning curve in a small team is very steep. So in a short period of time, you will learn a lot more than what you would perhaps learn in a large team.
Yeah.
Even if it's a large organization or a small organization, doesn't matter. But but try and work in a small team. The other thing which I also benefited from quite a bit, Jackson, is to take up challenging assignments, which perhaps are first of their kind. Others may not have worked, others may not have had a chance to work on those assignments. So don't hesitate. You should take certain risks in your career, especially early in your career, and work on tools, technologies, opportunities which are first of the kind in the organization for you, for many others, because that gives you a very different kind of an experience. And oftentimes, if you do a very good job in that, it puts you on the fast track in your career, which a lot of other folks may not be able to do after working many, many years. So take certain calculated risks, work on things which are new if it is feasible for you.
And when it comes to applying for job roles at TCS, what should students look for in the application interview process to make sure that the job is right for them and also make sure that they're the right fit for the job?
Sure. See, I think when the students who are there on this call apply for a job, I think they must look for a few things. Number one, fitment uh, from a from a skill set standpoint, right? That means the role or the job should be able to harness the knowledge that they have acquired, the skills that they have acquired, any certifications that they have got. It should be by and large relevant in that domain. So that's number one. Number two, I strongly feel that the students also need to look at the culture of the organization which they are joining. Is it a fun culture to work with, right? Is it an empowered culture? Will they get a chance to voice their opinions, their ideas? Very important, right?
Yeah.
And at least I feel that in the teams that we are leading, it's a very open culture. We allow people to come up with their ideas, their suggestions. Doesn't matter if somebody is has joined us just very recently or somebody has been working with us for last 5 years or 10 years. We value those opinions very much. In fact, a lot of brilliant ideas come from people who have just joined us with it because they're coming in with an outside in perspective. So look for the culture part of it. Look for the care for individual. Look for the empathy of the organization. Some of these things are hard to find, hard to recognize, especially when you're outside the organization. But there could be some symptoms, there could be some references that you could get from your friends, colleagues who work in the organization, and by checking with them you will know what the culture of the organization is. At the same time, look for progression opportunities for yourself, right? That
Yeah.
means after completing 1 year, 2 years, what is it that you will aspire to be doing, and will the organization give an opportunity to you to get into that kind of a role, and that it could be a role, it could be a technology, it could be a location that you aspire to do.
Mm.
Other suggestion which I have is, especially early in the career, look for chances to travel and
Mm.
meet new people. I feel this really helps because it helps you build a wider outlook about people, about the way business gets conducted. Try and see if you get a chance to meet with customers, the end customers of your organization, because you will learn immensely from customers. So look for those things when you're applying for a job, is my suggestion.
And touching upon that point, traveling and meeting people, you said that kind of develop certain skills. What are some of the transferable skills that students may currently have or could develop through things like this that can be useful for when working for a company like TCS? And you've already touched upon traveling would be one of those where they can develop their skills in terms of which would be beneficial for the company. Would there be a few other ones too, which they can bring, which could be transferable skills or seen as transferable skills?
Yes, I think there are many transferable skills that one can learn in a university ecosystem or in a work ecosystem, which are transferable
Yeah.
to the next organization or a new organization which they are joining. And I think some of them are the hunger and the passion to do something different.
Yeah.
So that's one, right? Uh, Second is originality of ideas that carries forward, whether
Yeah.
you work in one organization and the next organization. Interpersonal skills,
Yeah.
right? Relationship building skills with your peers, with your supervisors, with your teammates, with your customers. These are transferable skills. If you build these, and you practice these skills over time, you can utilize them wherever in the world that you go and you work. Uh, Similarly, collaboration skills, conflict resolution skills, very important, because in any organization that you go and you're working on a program or a project or any responsibility, uh, people are people, right? There are
Yes.
bound to be potential differences of opinions. So without letting your opinion being overridden, how to resolve conflicts is also very, very important soft skill
Yeah.
that we value, and it has to be learned over a period of time through practice, observing other people, how they resolve conflicts, not being emotional about situations and contexts, and resolving conflicts in an amicable way, in a win-win manner.
Mm.
I think these are all very, very transferable skills, and the students can benefit quite a bit by utilizing them.
Very valuable skills listed there. And finally, Ankur, in your opinion, what separates the tech industry and companies like TCS from others that makes it so desirable to work in today? And why should students be excited at the prospect of a career in the tech industry?
So that's an interesting question, Jackson. Here is our belief. We believe that in today's enterprise world or in today's organizations, technology is really at the heart of the strategy of most organizations. You can pick any industry, you can pick any organization. If they are transforming themselves, if they are getting ready for the future, technology is playing a central role in the transformation of organizations. You can take healthcare, life sciences, manufacturing, even government, right?
Yeah.
Travel, transportation, education, any sector of the economy that you look at. Today, technology is transforming the way stakeholders interact, the way business gets done, and the way value gets created from businesses. So fundamentally, our belief is that technology is transforming enterprises, and technology is at the heart of doing business today. Therefore, the need for technology is only going to grow over a period of time, and it is already outstripping the demand. The demand is outstripping the supply of people and resources that we have today. So fundamentally, uh, by choosing a technology career, I feel that you will be in the heart, in the center of the organization, uh, whichever organization that you decide to join, and by having these uh, associated skills that we spoke about a little while ago, you can become extremely valuable in the organization. I want to give you some examples. In today's world, if you look at the chief digital officer, or if you look at the chief transformation officer, many a times even chief executive officers are more and more being picked from the lot of people who have got a technology orientation, who at least understand how technology affects or impacts their business. Okay.
Yes.
So future CEOs of large corporations are going to come from the technology world. In TCS, we have been very fortunate that we have been working with some of the top Fortune 500, Global 1000 customers,
Mm.
each one of them a leader in their own right. And we have learned quite a bit from those customers, and we have also been able to contribute significantly to their transformation, their business growth, their business journey by being a partner of choice in the technology area. So I think if you decide to join TCS, you will be part of that journey with some of the top global organizations around the world.
Thank you, Ankur. Ankur, let's switch gears and take a look at some of the questions we have received in the Q&A chat box. So here's the first question. What would be the one piece of advice you would give someone hoping to get into the tech industry that doesn't have any experience?
So, so my advice is be a quick learner. It is so uh, technology skills are learnable skills. they can be learned.
Yeah.
So do not hesitate to learn. Be a quick learner. Practice makes you perfect. So keep on practicing what you have learned. I think that's what I would like to suggest somebody who has not worked in technology.
Yeah.
Second is that sometimes you can get into a non-technical field also. You'll be surprised to hear that companies like TCS, in fact, particularly TCS, we employ people who don't have technology background as well. For example, we employ doctors, lawyers, or legal professionals, or students who have completed their legal courses,
Yeah.
management graduates, right? And then we have an engine which inculcates the technology knowledge, the application of technology in different sectors, and we train the people up in the use of technology in various sectors. So do not worry if you do not have technical or technology background. Be open to learning, and you can join as a functional, as a business person in our teams, as a domain person, depending on what your area of expertise is, and we will be happy to train you in.
The second question is, what first got you interested in tech and made you pursue a career in it? So what was it that made you get interested in tech and made you pursue a career in it?
That's an interesting question. See, when I graduated from university, my area of expertise or knowledge was project management. And at that point in time, TCS had a technology platform called as Success Plan. It was a project management platform, project management tool, which was used by several industries. So I came in as a functional person, somebody who understands how projects are run, how resources are allocated, how to crash a project timeline, the CPM, the PERT. Many of the folks on the call might perhaps recognize these words. So I came in as a functional person to implement the technology. So what I was insisting on earlier was how technology is used is what got me interested in coming and joining TCS. And I must say, I have not regretted even a single moment of that choice.
Well, your career journey speaks for it, from being an intern to the vice president of education at TCS. What advice do you have for somebody interested in deployment? That question doesn't really make sense, does it? What advice do
If
you have for someone
if so,
inter-
if the question, sorry,
sorry, go on. What advice do you have for somebody interested in deployment?
okay, if the question pertains to deployment of technology, I can perhaps try to answer that. If
Yes,
the question
let's
means something else, I'm not sure.
yeah.
But if the question is about how a career in deploying technology, tremendous opportunities. So we are constantly on the lookout for people who will go and talk to the customer, understand the business challenges, translate them into a business solution, a technology solution, get involved in implementation of the solution as well. So deployment of technology is of paramount importance to us. Most of those colleagues and those folks typically work from our customer locations. They deploy technology in the customer's environment. It is a complex piece of work, oftentimes very challenging piece of work also. It does require stakeholder management skills. It does require uh, change management skills, because as soon as new technology or new systems or new business processes come in, it is natural for all of us to ask questions as to why this and so on. So change management is one a very important aspect that all of us need to learn, irrespective of our respective professions, especially in the technology field that you can benefit from. So deployment of technology is an extremely valuable skill set, requires not just the technical knowledge, but more importantly, knowledge of the customer's needs, change management skills, and stakeholder management skills.
Next question is, what role do emerging technologies like AI and machine learning play in TCS educational programs? Um, and what are your thoughts on ChatGPT?
Sure. So here is our point of view. We believe that in the future, learning will be anywhere, anytime, on any device and also through any channel. So multi-channel. There is not one source of learning that will be there. There will be multiple sources of learning for people. AI-based engines such as ChatGPT, conversational AI, we believe have got a transformational role in the education sector in the sense that many of the functions which today are being performed by as an assistant to a professor, for example, a teaching assistant, some of those functions can now be performed by conversational AI tools. They are one of the best friends of a student to learn, to experiment, to try out new ideas, and very rapidly learn things. The conversational AI tools also have got now the capability to set examination question papers. They also have the ability to evaluate the answers. So we believe that conversational AI, machine learning is going to revolutionize education sector. It is just that the adoption for this must be welcomed. It is not a threat. Our belief is it is not a threat to the existing education system. It is an enabler of faster learning, faster outcomes, deeper understanding of topics, and anytime, anywhere learning. This is what our point of view is. And it is already revolutionizing many, many other industries. However, there are inherent biases in any machine learning tool based on what the data sets have been used, what training has been given to the AI engine.
Yeah.
And we just have to watch out for those inherent biases and make sure that number one, the data sets on which the algorithm is trained are very vast. And number two, the inherent biases do not tend to creep in. And as far as possible, it is an unbiased, equitable viewpoint on which the engine gets trained on. Then I think we will have much, much more beneficial outcomes. I think the technology today is in a little bit of an experimental mode. Over time, this will gain maturity. Next few years, we'll surely see a dramatic transformation in the education sector through conversational AI and chatbots such as ChatGPT and others.
And Ankur, one final question. What are some of the, let me see, what are some of the skills we could use in prioritizing our work and set expectations among hierarchical stakeholders? So again, we're talking about soft skills, I guess. Skills we could use in prioritizing our work and set expectations.
Yeah, I think it's a very good question. See, in the corporate world today, in any organization that the students go and work, there will always be more demands on their time than the available time. And the only way that the students can shine and perform well, even outperform others, is by prioritizing what is important. So when you are working yourself in a university, you are prioritizing for yourself. However, when you go and work in an organization, oftentimes you are assigned certain priorities. So my recommendation to the team over here will be that do look at what is the assigned priority to you from your leadership team and have a very fair, transparent, and objective communication channel established with your team as well as with your supervisors to make sure that the priority is well defined, is well understood, the timelines are agreed, it is doable. And any time that you feel that the priorities are getting out of hand, it is good to have a conversation and say, hey, look, this perhaps may need a reprioritization. Can you help me reprioritize? And give your recommendation also and say, I believe that for the current moment, we should be doing A, B, and C, and we should not be touching D. We can touch D, priority D, at a suitable point in time in the future. So it's very important to prioritize your work and take the cooperation and help of others in your team and your supervisors in helping you prioritize if you yourself are not able to do it, because it may have multiple other stakeholders involvement in any project or any activity.
Ankur, some really, really valuable insights. Ankur, thank you so much for sharing your insights and expertise with us. It's been a pleasure, such a pleasure to have you here with us today.
Certainly, Jackson, the pleasure was entirely mine, and I wish all the students, all the learners who are there on the call today, all the very best success in their careers, and look forward to welcoming some of them into TCS, and particularly the TCS education unit in the future.
And I'm very sure they would. I mean, after this webinar, you've sold it. Ankur, thank you so much again. And to our viewers, thank you so much for joining us today. We look forward to welcoming you next week on the 8th of March at 3 p.m. GMT for our International Women's Day special, where we'll be welcoming Chloe Harris, who is the Director of Delivery at Farfetch. Farfetch is one of the leading global platforms for luxury fashion industry. So see you next week. Do tune in. Thank you. Goodbye.